Yay.
Hey, y'all. Hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Her podcast featuring the one and only Journey Amundson.
Thanks for having me. It's so fun to hang out with you. I'm glad we're doing this.
Yes, girl. When I tell you the connection world is so out there, it's just real,
Networking, that's everything.
Yes. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I live in St. Louis and the weather is beautiful. So,
Oh, you a St. Louis girl?
yes.
I am here for it.
Yeah. I'm finishing my master's degree at SLU, St. Louis University, and I'm an athlete there. So that's why I'm not from St. Louis, but just hanging out here for the meantime.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
So let's get to it. So, Journey, can you tell us how you got to where you are in your sports journey?
Yeah, for sure. So I was not a super athletic kid. I was a dancer and was always labeled kind of unathletic. I have a ton of little brothers, so as the oldest only girl, I was really not the athlete of the family. A lot of my brothers were. And I did track and field because of the social aspect. I just wanted some friends and ended up my senior year kind of getting a little good. Was not recruited anywhere, but just chose a college just to go to college. And when I got there, McAllister College, it's a D3 institution in Minnesota. I asked the coach if I could join the track team, and she said yes. And I loved every second of it. It was the best experience ever. D3 is the bomb because you can explore all parts of yourself. I got to study abroad and be the president of clubs and do a really hard major and spend a lot of time with my family and my friends. So I loved being an athlete there. And because of COVID, I got 2 extra years of eligibility. And I did the whole recruiting process for the first time as a 22-year-old, which was really fun and silly. And I got to go on official visits and the whole 9 yards, which I loved. And I ended up choosing St. Louis University, and that's where I'm at now. So I'm in my final semester of college athletics ever, which is scary. But yeah, I'm ready for a good last season.
Girl, let's talk about that because here's the thing. A lot of people like to downplay D2, D3
Max.
competition. And
Yeah.
it's there's some dogs there.
D3 is where it's at. D3 is where it's at. A shout out to one of the fastest man in D3, Sam Blaskowski. This dude is so fast. There are some big sprinters, jumpers, some fast distance runners. So do not sleep on D3.
And the fact that you went from D3 to D1, coach would kill for that.
Yeah.
And but my question for you is can you explain the misconception of D3 competition where it needs to be recognized more how competitive it is?
Yes. People at the D3 level are there because they love it and they want to be there. They love the grind. They are volunteering their time. They're taking time out of their day to just do a sport they love. No one's on scholarship. No one's out here getting paid a ton of NIL money. And so people are intense and take it super seriously. And the competition is really high. These teams are good. These people are really good. And especially you can see track and field, just the nature of our sport. You can compare times. And of course, there is big talent at the D1 level, but there's still some incredible athletes at the D3 level. And I definitely wouldn't sleep on it. And it was the best decision I could have made as a young athlete for sure.
Yes, because it's so crazy because like I said, I mean, D3 have their own national championship, just like everybody else. And it's it doesn't get televised unless it's championship wise, playoffs on ESPN Plus and all that stuff. But your transition from D3 and D1, what was that transition like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely tough at first. I always tell people that I would not be the athlete I'm today without being D3, just because I got to explore all parts of myself and I wasn't doing track and field as my job essentially. So by the time my brain matured, I got to compete at that D1 level. And so now that I'm here, it is time consuming. Higher expectations for sure, different type of pressure for sure, because now I am worried about scholarship money. The competitions are higher stakes. I get to be surrounded by like the best of the best. I'm competing with Olympians on the weekends, and that's the coolest feeling ever. But I'm super lucky that I get to, focus on sports now and have a major in a program, a master's program that like allows me to do that, because I don't think it would have been, I mean, it is possible obviously to do this, but I was a chemistry major in college and I was pre-med, and that was super tough. I'm glad I was D3, and now I get to like be all in on the sports side of stuff. So
for sure. Like, and you mentioned like NIL, like I think there's so many misconceptions about NIL, how it's strictly for D1, but it's like NIL is for everybody if you think about it. Because I've heard there's like few D3s that actually making six figures in deals. So like
that's actually what I do, which is so cool. So right now I work with different D3 universities and put on workshops of like what is NIL and like how can you participate at a D3 institution, because a lot of them don't have the donors and the collectives of D1 universities, like the pay for play type stuff, not as common at the D3 level. So it is so possible, and I love empowering people to like take control of their own NIL and be entrepreneurs and have the same exact opportunities as people at the D1 level.
For sure. Like, and I noticed it says top tier lesson CEO.
Yeah.
So can you explain what top tier lesson is?
Yeah. So Top Tier Lessons is an NIL company. It's a startup. And what we do is we connect parents looking for private sports lessons for their kids with college student athletes. So any college athlete, no matter the division, no matter the sport, no matter if you ride the bench or you're like the star player, anyone can coach lessons with us, which is so awesome. You get to set your own schedule. It's free. You get to set your own hourly rate. You get to coach like on campus or near campus. It's the best. We figure out all those details. And it's a great way for like college students to have that NIL opportunity of like being a private lessons coach, getting to be like, yo, I'm a college athlete. Come learn from me. Which is super cool. So we started in a couple cities in the Midwest, and now we're in 20 cities across the United States, which is super awesome. And, it says CEO because I'm technically the CEO. I am the chief expansion officer. So what I do is I'm helping run the company, moving it to all of our new cities, which is really exciting and fun to like be pushing it out and like give this opportunity to even more student athletes in the US.
Is there a possibility, like, say somebody is interested in being part of that, even though they may be far away? Do y'all like offer like remote training as well, say connecting with people, like remote training and everything through online?
Yeah, we're not there yet, but if you want to be a part of Top Tier Lessons, you can press join as a coach, or you can totally find me on Instagram and DM me, and I'll be like, okay, Ashley wants to coach. Her city is on my radar. Like I'm heading there next. So if you let me know too, we will definitely move over and hook you up.
Y'all, she's just using me as an example. I promise y'all. But I do know in some athletes that, that loves to, that would love to coach the next generations. I promise y'all.
Yeah, coach me on podcasting, Ashley. That's like the coaching.
Oh, I got you. It's crazy because somebody had asked me like, how can they start up a podcast or what? I'm like, just go for it. Like, just go for it. Whatever you feel like, just just take the moment and like also be consistent in it, because if you like, some people may not. I see it as a passion, but like I always have my little CA like, hey, if you love my content, you always donate it.
For sure.
Hey, support a real one. But I think anything what you love to do, if you see it as a hobby, but you can turn it into a passion that you love to do, that's the most important thing. If you love it, you have that passion for it, you want to do it because you love it. Like that passion is gonna go by, but and also like the money will follow if you continue that passion. That's gonna happen. So
totally, yeah, that's super good advice.
So, but my question for you is like, what are some ways? So like, when you say all sports, so it could be just any sport. It doesn't strictly be track. It could be like softball, basketball, like even rugby. So
yeah,
that is so dope.
yeah. Basically,
CEO. She's
any
CEO.
Right now we're focusing on NCAA sports, and definitely will expand. So any NCAA sports, you totally can coach. And we'll help hook you up with like a space to do it and find you the parents who want the lessons. That's like the best part about what we do is we hook you up with the parents.
And I think that's dope how you implementing in NIL because as you know, athletes are working every day in their sport as a student. And it's like some people can't. It's hard for them to even find a job, but it's like y'all finally getting paid for your name, image, and likeness. And this is like, especially if you like to train people, like this is also another opportunity, like just helping them. And also they may need that credit for like if they're doing an internship, like, hey, just this girl, kudos to you. Shout out to you.
Yeah, that's why we did it. It's because first of all, student athletes, we often cannot have a real job. So this is like a great way to make money. And then secondly, total NIL right now is totally not fair. It as someone who is a woman and plays a non-revenue sport, I see how unequal the NIL world is. And that's like what we're trying to change and make it as equitable and accessible as possible so that everyone can have this opportunity.
How can with track too, like what event do you do?
I'm a triple jumper. I also do, I jump far.
I literally had somebody that was a triple jumper and they were explaining, I was like, is it the one that just jumped 3 times and then just do like this, land in the sand and stuff? So like the what's her name? Tara Woodhall?
Tara Davis Woodhall. She's a long jumper. I also do that.
Oh, okay.
She is on my vision board. So
I think she's so amazing just to see that. And like, I don't know if you saw the clip where she did it and then her husband, who's like the Paralympic Olympian, like just cheer for her. I'm like, this is like couple calls. It's like you would watch that.
They're so cool. They're awesome.
So would you say Tara Davis Woodhall is one of your inspirations in track and field?
Definitely, especially because of like the joy she's bringing to our sport and how she like is using her platform to help grow our sport. Because track and field is not what people are going to watch on Sunday nights, and so we are trying to change that, and Tara is like such a good force for that. She like jumps around and she like brings the personality and the energy, and that's what our sport needs. So yeah, she's definitely one of my biggest inspirations.
What are some ways do you hope to like see the track and field, like in all the events and aspects? Do you hope to see them get more opportunity, especially in the revenue support, but also like NIL deals? Because some there. I mean, of course, you have some track and fielders that have like a lot of them, like a lot of deals based on maybe the following or the popularity. Right. But do you hope to see it like expand for everybody too, for the track and field community?
Definitely. There are some cool things happening in the track world right now with the Athlos competition is one and Grand Slam track is another. There are so many like track and field tournaments popping up and like ways to make it really exciting where they're like events that you want to go to and you want to watch, or like dual meets where like 2 different athletes, like there was one where a mid-distance runner or a short to mid-distance runner competed in a sprint against a pole vaulter. And it was like, ooh, who's going to win? Like, who's the fastest? And so cool events like that are really what are changing our sport. And then, I know that NCAA track and field also is like not what people are watching. But hopefully when we bring the personality, we bring the exciting events, we bring the drama and the records just keep getting broken. That's what's going to like extend the NIL and the hype around track and field to everyone.
Because let me tell y'all something. Kudos to y'all because y'all be having so much stamina. I'm like, I'm a jog, like the running. I'll just run a little bit and then just jog and walk around the rest of the mile. Like I try.
Same. Me too.
It's like I try, but the jumping. I think the jumping is super dope. Like y'all be in the air, like just.
Jumping is the most fun for sure. It is the best event.
So my question is like for you, when it comes to representation in women's sports, how important is representation?
Super important. I of course like didn't see myself as an athlete. I did not watch women's sports growing up as a kid. I didn't really watch sports growing up as a kid. But no one in my school, none of my friends, no one even in college really were talking about women's sports. And so now I'm so grateful for the rise of big stars that are pushing us forward in the women's sports world. And so getting to see women's sports like as normalized things that everyone is watching, that everyone's talking about, that the talk shows are putting up, that you can turn on ESPN and that's what you're watching, like means the world to me and makes a huge difference.
For sure, because let me tell y'all something. Like women's sports is where it's
Yeah,
at, y'all. Like, you know, if they can play, if they can run, like running is running, jumping is jumping, dribbling the ball is dribbling the ball. Like we all athletes. Don't don't sleep on us.
for
But
real. For real. And I love stuff like Unrivaled. I cannot get enough of it, and like the new ways to play the game and all of the exciting like new leagues and stuff like Love Volleyball, the Pro Volleyball Leagues. We are on the move. It is a good time to be in women's sports.
man, like I really, especially the Unrivaled, like you're the
Yeah,
first person that mentioned about Unrivaled because
really.
the concept of it, I think it's super dope because like in the 3-on-3 aspect, like we see for the 3-on-3 for women's is like the Olympics, but to see the 3-on-3 for the regular, like
Yes.
basically in between seasons between
Yeah.
like college and then the WNBA, I think is, and then the Love Volleyball, I think that's super dope because there's the AU, you know, the athletes and limit,
Yep.
and then now somebody, I just had someone that, uh, they sent me a picture of like the even the pro women's NHL, like the
Yeah.
pro women's hockey league.
WHL. Yeah. They're incredible.
So hey, all
We're
the
making
support and stuff.
moves. Yeah.
Give it up for us women's athletes. Give it
Yes, ma'am.
up. So, but my question for you is like, you know, so when it comes to athletes and athletes' mental health, I advocated so much about it.
Yeah.
So, but for you as an athlete, how important is mental health to you?
The most. Not only like am I an athlete, but I'm getting my master's in public health, and my research project is actually on the mental health of student athletes and like what resources we need to put together at schools to make sure athletes feel supported and feel like they can manage everything that we have going on because we deal with so many different things and the stigma really is there. Like as an athlete, it's like you need to push through the pain. Like why are you not giving it 100%? Why, we should be able to mentally push through a loss, even though losing is so normal in all of our sports. So it's like the most important, and I could not be the person or the athlete that I am today without my sports psychologist, my therapist, leaning on my friends, leaning on my coach and my AT. And so it really takes a village. And I struggle all of the time and could not be the athlete that I am, especially because I like being an athlete is a huge part of my identity. So when I'm struggling in athletics, is like, who am I? So yeah, that's like one of the main struggles I also see like in the athlete community is just like the identity of being an athlete like takes over who they are.
Yes, because when I tell you, and I always say this, and I try to remind people how athletes are humans first. Like I always
Yeah.
say, athletes are humans first. Like you try waking up at 5 in the morning to get ready for, you know, workouts and stuff, and
Yeah.
you call us how you feel about it because
Yeah.
like, and it's crazy because like you just, you know, you were mentioning like COVID hit, like, you know, that played a huge part of like,
Yes,
you
for sure.
know, with the athletes, you know, not being able to compete, not going to like workouts or competing in everything. So it's like, you know, did you feel like when COVID hit, do you feel like it took the time, you had the time to figure out like, who am I without my sport?
Honestly, no. Not at all. COVID was such a struggle for some people in different ways. And the first time now I've had to like really think about who am I outside my sport. is like now that I'm about to graduate, and it's like, oh, what am I gonna do in like 5 months? Like, who am I going to be? What is my life going to look like? Because all of the decisions I make, everything I think about revolves around my sport. Like when I'm going to sleep, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to do on the weekend, what my day-to-day routine looks like. It just revolves around being an athlete. And so now this is the first time where I'm really confronted with like, okay, I need to make sure that like journey is all of these things, because if the athlete part is it, that's about to be taken away. And so that's one thing that athletes like I think really struggle with, and we need to work on like as, and not even like in the entire NCAA is like setting up athletes for after graduation for success of like, we are going to nurture all of you, not just the athlete, but your whole entire person.
Absolutely, because there's gonna be those times where it's like the transition, like how am I gonna deal with real life, like
Yes.
like you've known your sport for years, so it's like how am I gonna live, like how am I gonna deal with real life? What do I need to do? Like if I'm trying to find a job, like what are some experience I could offer to,
Yeah, totally. I don't know what the answer is yet, but I feel like the first step is helping student athletes with a retirement plan is kind of what it's called. And so that's part of my research. I'm going to see like what would that retirement plan look like? Like how do we help athletes set up for that? Whether that's like, okay, what form of exercise are you going to do now? Because you are not going to be told to exercise every day anymore. You need to figure out how to exercise by yourself. Or what are you going to eat? Because no longer are you going to the dining hall and are your nutritionists and coaches telling you what to eat every single day. So like little things like that, things as big as like, what makes up you? Like, what do you like to do with your free time? Where do you want to pursue a career? So I feel like that is like part of the first step of graduation and retirement with athletes.
girl, you got this. I mean, you can be
Thanks.
included to your what's it called, your study too with it, like
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited. I'll definitely share results once we find out like what is needed in the sports world.
you better let them know what it is.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. What do you see from like your point of view of like what are the things that institutions or schools could do better for mental health student athletes?
Ooh, that's a great question. I never got asked that about that. I think they need to listen more
Yeah.
because, yes, it's business, but if an athlete is coming to you, like
Hmm.
trusting you and say, hey, like, I need help, and you're dismissing their feelings, you basically saying, their feelings don't matter, that they need to just stick to being business and
Yeah.
think. And so if you actually listen to them, then you'll realize less chances of them often like just
Yeah.
unaliving themselves, or less chance of them, having to quit their sport because you took away, what you did to them. You took away their passion and why they started the sport, why they love the sport. Just listen to them, like, because it's already hard for the athletes, and I get it that some coaches, some administrators played sports and stuff. Like, you should be able to understand how an athlete, you were once in that part of the shoe. Like, you should be able to be that player coach or that player person that supports them, not like say, you know, if they don't fit your system, then, I don't, I'm not going to deal with you and stuff. So, like, for me, that's why I advocate for athletes and advocate for athletes' mental health. That's why I created an Instagram broadcast channel called Athletes Advocate for,
Yeah.
especially for athletes, collegiate or pro, whether they're former or current, to say, hey, I'm providing a safe space for y'all to, like, hey, you need anything, like, this is a safe space where I'm letting you know, like, a dear athletes, letting you know how important you are, how you are always appreciated, continue to be you, like, you are always human first, like, just giving them that, that light, because, everybody is already struggling, we never
Yeah.
know, you know now recently I just say, check on your happy and strong people, because you never know what type of silent battles they're going through, and they may need the
Facts.
support the most.
Yes. Yeah, facts. That's something definitely I forget all of the time. I think it's so easy to forget that kind of stuff. So listening, very important.
Yeah, because when you listen to somebody, like, you be quick to listen and slow to speak in anger. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you don't have to know everything all the time. Just listen to them. Like, they may need that hearing. Like, if they say, "Hey, I need your advice," and then you can give it to them. But if they're explaining to you, and then you're like, "Oh, you could have done better," or something, like, you just basically saying that their feelings don't matter, that you just really didn't hear them out. So it's like, now they're trying to figure out how I can find another person. What do I need to do? Like, where do I even belong and stuff? So, like,
Yes.
another big thing I feel like the athletes need to understand and need to, where they can, like, be heard is go where you are valued, appreciated, and
Yes.
loved, and
Uh-huh.
not be tolerated. Because
Yep.
there's a difference between being appreciated and being tolerated. You want to feel appreciated, not tolerated. Say, hey, oh, I'm just there to pass time. No.
Yes, true. That was like a huge part of my recruiting journey, actually. And like the advice I was given was like, make sure you're going somewhere where they believe in you and they want you, where you are not going to be just a number. Because I think that is where a lot of like the harmful stuff can come in, is if you feel like you are not valued and they can replace you in an instant. Not a good space to be in for anyone who's like looking to be recruited.
Yeah, especially I don't know if you like big on TikTok or like I don't know if you've seen like there's a whole trend for female athletes that is saying like the whole trend about you're funny and they're like thank you and then they explain their
Yes.
experience
I
and
was
like
just talking to Sydney about that trend. That's so funny.
man, like to see that for like a lot of the female athletes for their sports and like yo this is why I advocate like this is why people need to
Yes.
this is like people need to understand and watch how they speak, how
Yes.
like their voice they need to understand like you know they're the coaches or the administration like they have to understand they're responsible for these kids these athletes especially that some of these athletes can't come back home because they're far away and stuff like this is your responsibility
Totally.
like make them feel like they belong don't make them feel like oh like you said just a number I'm just
Yep.
you just here because yeah I recruited you but then you don't do what I say I'm like I regret recruiting you and then some people say like just crazy off the wall things like why did you say this again so
Yeah, totally.
it's it's just like whew. But Miss Journey, how would you describe your journey? Like, what's a word or a phrase that you would describe your journey?
I would say unexpected. I like wasn't an athlete. I like was labeled unathletics. Like this whole athletic journey is a really big surprise for me. I thought I was going to be a doctor. I was pre-med and a chem major, and now I run a sports company and I'm going to work in sports. So definitely unexpected. And that's just like to say or to like show anyone that like keep your eyes open, follow your heart, let the opportunities like don't let them pass you by. Like take what feels right and go after what you want and what you love, and don't feel like you need to be stuck in a path because someone tells you you should, or even because you thought you should. Don't be afraid to make that leap and yeah, change courses if something doesn't feel right for you.
Girl, the fact we went from pre-med and
I
chem to like sports, like that's
Yeah,
a huge like
it's a big. It was
I'm
a big jump.
roller.
It was a big identity crisis for sure, because part of me also was like, okay, I told everyone I'm going to be a doctor. Everyone expects me to be a doctor. It's going to be really awkward and embarrassing if I'm like, oh, by the way, I work in sports now. But that is not the case. Like the only person that needs to be okay with your journey is you. You don't need to worry about what other people think, or like, yeah, even going back on your own word. Your journey is your journey.
Exactly. And plus like your visions and dreams could like change. Like maybe you had this dream and maybe it could be, deterred to something bigger or better.
Yeah, totally, exactly. Like my dream was also to like be a ballerina as a child. And here I am. It's okay for your dreams to change, your expectations to change. And Ashley, what's your dream job?
My dream job, Jesus. My dream job was actually back in the day. My dream job was to be like one of the analysts for ESPN because, like,
Ooh, that's a good dream job.
yeah, but then years later, just like, oh, filling out things and internships, like, which would be dope. And then, like, seeing news, everybody's getting laid off, especially like the ones that I used to watch all the time getting laid off. Like, I don't want it.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
this is crazy. And then, of course, my another dream job was to be like, say, a coach or somebody that be around basketball. Like, I've been around the sports world for 28 years, being
Yeah.
being a student athlete manager for Division 1, and just just being around the sport. And then you know now this, like,
Life.
now like my dream now or vision is to, like, hopefully speak at a place that talks about women's sports, or speak at a you know I'm all I know is I'm holding this, like, I'm about to get an SB. I'm already visioning myself. I get an SB for, like, say something, like something impactful, but like, hey,
Yes.
like, I'm already envisioning, like, I want SB to be not just nominated but actually be recognized for the impact. Because
Yeah.
I will say, and I always say, as someone who is a woman in sport who happens to be on the autism spectrum, is not seen or heard or, like,
Yes.
so, like, that's why I always want to provide a platform for women's sports and everything, and always want to let people know that each of these athletes have a story. So I'm like providing that safe space and stuff. So, like, just doing something that's, I don't know, outside of the box, that's not heard
Love
of.
it.
So
Representation, just like we were talking about. Being an advocate for the people. That's super cool.
thank you. So definitely appreciate it. This is the most got asked in question wise. This is the most I got asked. So
Just curious.
hey, ain't nothing wrong with being inquisitive. I just want to let folks know, if you trying to learn about somebody, being inquisitive is key.
True. True that. I
So
agree.
So I always ask my guests this question, and Bonafide means authentic and unique. So what makes Miss Journey Amundson? Did I say right the last name? Amundson?
Yeah.
Yes! Yes! Okay. What makes Journey Amundson Bonafide, and what makes your story stands out?
Um, well, I would say that I totally have I feel like I've talked about these things. But I have a little series on my Instagram that I did last semester called How to Hustle. So like what makes me unique, I think has been like taking risks and these chances and opportunities where I didn't expect them to be, and hustling to build the life I wanted for myself. So I think that's part of what makes me unique. Also, the thing that makes me unique on the track is I love to dance, just like Tar Davis. So you're gonna see me out there on the track having a good time. I'm gonna be jamming to music. I'm going to be hyping up people. That definitely makes me stand out during competition.
Yes, we love a girl's girl. We love a hype person. Hey,
Yes, definitely.
Alex. Yes. Tar Davis, if you see this, please connect with her. Please connect with Journey. No, please connect with her.
Yes, love that. Thank you. Thank you for the connect.
Hey, gotta speak it into existence, manifest
So
it.
true. Manifesting our SB, and we're manifesting connecting with Tar Davis and our inspiration.
Yes. Hello, 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 hello. I know it's crazy how I had to show my little fantasy football league
I
trophy.
love it. I love it.
It's like I'm just holding it like I just want to SB. So I see it. It's like okay. It's like this. It be shaped differently. So I'm like, hey. So can you let the folks know how and where they can support you, and if there's
Yeah.
any upcoming events happening for you?
Yes, definitely. Go hit me up on Instagram, journey.amundson. It's just my name on the screen. You can go connect with me on LinkedIn. Same thing, my name. And if anyone wants to chat about NIL or be on Top Tier Lessons, you go to toptierlessons.com or connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn.
Yes, you heard it from the queen first. You heard it from the queen first. Be sure to follow her, just like she said, on Instagram, LinkedIn, all of it. If you want to learn more about Top Tier Lessons, she is that girl. So
thanks so much, Ashley, for having me. This was really
of course. And big shout out to you, Miss Journey, for coming on the podcast, sharing story. Big shout out to all the viewers and the fans and the supporters for tuning in to Bonafide, her podcast, episode 115, featuring Journey. Amundson. Yes! I keep cheering, like, because I want to make sure I pronounce it right. But big shout out to Miss Journey for sharing your story. Like I said, big shout out to everybody that's tuned in. You can check out the live replay of episode 115 afterwards. Thank you, guys. Peace.